I treat the stash like it's up for grabs. On the road to the riches, my foot on the gas. Can't be stopped by the wheel, keep spinning. I'm chasing success like this is my last. I'm keep living, the best been spinning. I wake up in the morning, thank the Lord that I made it up. I was so close to the edge like a pebble, baby help. Turn a little nothing into something, like I put a bun in the oven. I first get bread like a newborn. If you weren't with me going through storms, then you can't make it rain with me. You ain't in the struggle when the struggle trying to hustle. Don't play with me. You sleep for a week, you spend the day with me. Look at my shoes, have problems even lacing it. If I handed you my talent in the cup, you know dry niggas will probably end up wasting it. Now who's gonna clean up that spill? Look at my lane and see God at the wheel. I need the cash, I need it fast. I treat the stash like it's up for grabs. On the road to the riches, my foot on the gas. Can't be stopped by the wheel, keep spinning. I'm chasing success like this is my last. I'm keep living, the best been spinning. I wake up in the morning, thank the Lord that I made it up. I was so close to the edge like a pebble, baby help. Turn a little nothing into something, like I put a bun in the oven. I first get bread like a newborn. If you weren't with me going through storms, then you can't make it rain with me. You ain't in the struggle when the struggle trying to hustle. Don't play with me. You sleep for a week, you spend the day with me. Look at my shoes, have problems even lacing it. If I handed you my talent in the cup, you know dry niggas will probably end up wasting it. Now who's gonna clean up that spill? Look at my lane and see God at the wheel.
Let me know if you all can hear me. Let me know if we live. My sound is good. Y'all hear me and everything. But yes, happy Friday, everybody. This is going to be a horror live, okay? A horror live. So all the horror fans, come right on in. Come on, get settled. We're about to have a good time talking about some horror movie openings. Your favorites, my favorites, top horror openings, I'm a sucker for a cold opening in a horror movie. So we can go ahead and get started. So I'm going to bring out my guests because I'm not here alone. I'm not here alone. In no particular order. Let's see who's backstage. Let's see who we got back here while I'm just pressing buttons to see. D, how you doing?
I am good, Kay. Definitely excited to be here. Horror is something I don't get to discuss enough on my channel, so having the opportunity to discuss it with you wonderful ladies is, it feels right.
Awesome. And we have another person backstage. Let's go and invite this lovely lady on stage with us. How you doing, Struggle?
I'm so proud of you. Y'all showcase some love in this chat. This is Kay's first official headlining a live on her channel with all of us. Show her some love, please. Yes. I'm here for all the edits.
Come on in. Let's see. We got a couple more backstage. So we are going to bring in my other horror person, King Nikki. Come on in here.
Talking my second favorite subject, horror.
And we will be talking horror again on tomorrow. So this is just like a warm up. So I'm going to need everybody that's in here tonight to come on back in here tomorrow so we can talk about horror all over again. And the last person I'm bringing on stage is not a big horror fan, but we have bullied her into watching some horror movies just to be a part of this panel. My sweet perspective, come on in here.
Hey, girl, you ain't have to bully me into nothing. I was going to show up for you no matter what, even if I had to sit through 10, 15, 20, 11 horror movie openings, which weren't bad after all. I got to say, I wasn't too scared.
It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. See, when you really get into the horror, it's not that bad. You get desensitized real quickly. I know I am desensitized at this point. Let's see who is all in here. Hi, Miriam. Giggles, Jasmine. We got some people in here. Dominique, hi. My sister in here. Dr. Anjanae Pounds is in here. For once. Hey, girl, come back. Well, let's get started. Before we get into the slides, I have a question for everybody. And I would like to know, and let me position us so that everybody can see. there we go. Oh, look at me lining stuff up. Okay, we in here.
You doing good, friend. You doing good.
Okay, why does it not want to go up here? Okay, got it. So I know I'm a person who I need the first few minutes to be lit for me. So I want to know from everyone else in the panel, what's more important to you? A cold opening or how the movie ends? Now, although, what is that movie that came out with Mahershala Ali? Something about the end of the world or something like that. Now, that end of the movie ruined the whole thing for me. But most of the time, a cold opening and I'm sold. Let's go to struggle reviews. Tyra, what's more important, the opening or the ending?
Both, Kay. I need y'all to be clicking on all cylinders for me to be interested in your film. For me, with movies, you get a good 20 minutes out of me. If you ain't made nothing shake for me spiritually for 20 minutes, if I'm not scared, if I'm not laughing, if I'm not intrigued, I'm likely to kind of walk away. The ending is also, important too, because the ending is that just solidifies just how good the film was. Like, you know what? I like that movie from start to finish. I need both of them.
Okay. Tyra said both. Nikki, what's more important, the beginning or the end?
That's hard to say which is more important. Anybody familiar with my channel know I am quick to DNF, do not finish. So if a movie doesn't pull in right away, I am quick to not finish a movie. And I don't even mean like, I love a cold opening, like you said, Kay, but it doesn't even have to be an action-packed opening, just something that you're going to give me a hook so that I want to stay and I'm intrigued and I'm into this. But the way a movie ends can spoil the whole movie. Like if I'm loving the whole movie, but then you give me a jacked up third act, that can kind of leave a sour taste. And the movie you were talking about, Leave the World Behind,
that's the one.
I love how that movie ends, but I get like an ending can ruin the experience. I can't say what's more important. I'm with Tyra. I need a good first act, second act, beginning, middle, end, everything.
Okay. D, what's more important, how the movie starts or how it ends?
It's a hard choice, but I have to go with ending. I have seen many a film that has all but destroyed the experience I have had up until then. So I can take an ending that's a little less, I can take an opening that's a little less compelling if I know that by the time I go through this journey, get the development, climax, all that stuff, when we get to the end, I feel like if I feel that sense of relief, that sense of excitement, that sense of, man, that was an experience, then that makes me appreciate the entire journey, even if we didn't start out the best way to begin with.
Okay. And Ashley, what is more important, the opening scene or the ending?
Yeah, you gotta suck me into it. You know what I mean? Like, because if I don't get to the end won't ever matter, right? So I'm gonna go with the opening. It's gotta be compelling. It's gotta get me in there. If not, like I said, I won't even finish. So yeah, that's me. Beginning, I'll go.
Okay. Well, for all those who care about the beginning, we're gonna talk about the openings. Now, there's one series that the beginning was not that hot for me, but the end was a payoff, and that was Midnight Mass. We got to talk about that one day. I never got a chance to talk about Midnight Mass. If you have not seen that series on Netflix, please go watch it. But that's the only time that I let the beginning pass, because it wasn't nothing spectacular happen in the first 3 episodes, but the ending really did it for me. So watch that one. Movies, cold openings. I think this is probably one of the first movies that really the beginning opening credits stood out to me. And not only this, actually a good bit of the Scream movies try to really sell you in the first few minutes. Let's go to Ashley. How did you feel about the very, very first time you seen Scream?
Oh my gosh. Now this is one that I actually saw because it's millennial lore, right? Like you had to watch this if you're of a certain age. And so I remember watching this, and when I rewatched it back this week, I was like, I didn't realize how long we saw Drew for. Like that was a good 10 minutes of Drew. And I'm still pissed. You know what I mean? Like I'm still pissed she sat on the phone with this stranger flirting with him when he was clearly unhinged. You know what I mean? But as far as an opening, yes, you were on the edge of your seat. You're like, is she going to trip on this phone? Like, what's going to happen? He's talking about he sees her through the door. It gave everything I need, even to the boyfriend being impaled on the freaking by the pool. I was like, okay, this sets you up to know the parents coming in, hearing her breath on the phone. Like, it was captivating. I was invested. And then it only got better for me personally.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes. The thing, I don't know why this is really weird for me, but the thing that stuck out in Scream was her fixing that popcorn, because nobody makes popcorn like that anymore.
And you know, it was burnt.
And that's how we used to. I don't know why that sticks out, because I guess because I was one of those people like the Friday night, Saturday night movies, and that's how I used to fix popcorn. And yes, and it got burnt. I don't know why that sticks out to me. Tyra, what do you remember about Scream in the opening credits?
This is the better film. This is definitely the better film in the Scream franchise. What sticks out to me is this is just not only the better Scream movie out of all of them, but I love how violent it was. It was so bloody. Like he shanked poor Drew so many times. Like it was so violent and so gory. And I think I missed that type of intense kills in the other films in the franchise. But not only that, kind of just digging into that trope of, you know, a name here, and I think we've seen it replicated over and over, like a main name in the cast doesn't mean anything. Drew went out first. Drew went out first in that first 10 minutes, and with her being, you know, bold front and center on the theatrical posters, like, oh, we're going to be following, is Drew Barrymore the Drew Barrymore in the 90s? Oh, she's definitely our final girl, and she wasn't. So to be watching something like this for the first time, it's like, oh, like, okay, we're not following Drew. And she's not only is she not the final girl, but if y'all killed off Drew Barrymore, then nobody's safe. And I think that just really sets the pacing for the movie. And of course, it's just iconic. I just love it for how bloody it is.
Absolutely. And yes, look at her up there on the movie poster. And and what was she in there all of 10, 15 minutes of the movie? And they, for all the Drew Barrymore fans, I'm sorry, but if you came late to the movies, then you missed it. You missed it altogether. D.
Mm-hmm.
How did you feel when you first seen Scream in that opening scene?
So many things. I think for me, what stands out the most about this scene, I would say a couple of things. One, just how simple and straightforward it is, and then how it builds throughout. It's 10 minutes, but it's a very effective, scary, shocking 10 minutes. You could almost it could almost be its own short film. You know what I'm saying? And I think the fact that it takes such a simple reality as far as being home, you're watching movies, horror movies at that, and then you get a crank call, and you just and then and how that can go from being something very like, oh gosh, annoying prank caller, to becoming something very perilous, very dangerous, very intense. Like it builds very quickly, and it's played so well, of course, by Drew Barrymore. And I also love how referential it is as far as harkening back to films like When a Stranger Calls, and also Psycho with Janet Leigh, and what happens with the shower, and how no one ever expected a character that was the protagonist to suddenly get killed off that way. So I like that in its own way, and making its own impact in the horror genre. It also pulled back from films we've seen before and kind of paved the way for films like this to be made.
Oh, absolutely. Somebody said in the comments she was actually originally supposed to play Sydney instead of Nip. I did not know that. So I guess she didn't mind being the first to die.
She was.
Nikki, how did you feel when you first seen this opening credit of Scream?
Well, I'm ancient, so I saw Scream in theaters with my mom when I was like 9 or 10. I can literally still remember the marketing for Scream. I can still remember Drew Barrymore. Like, I don't know if people watching it now who weren't there they don't realize Drew Barrymore was like the face of this new horror movie that was coming out. Like, you literally went into the movie thinking it's just like when Will Smith is in a movie and it's a Will Smith movie. Like, you went into this thinking this is a Drew Barrymore movie. This is her vehicle. So when that opening happens, and it even the way it starts, like, something is going to happen, but you do not know that Drew Barrymore is about to freaking die in the opening of the movie, and I can literally still remember the theater reaction when Drew Barrymore died. It is just such an iconic opening. And oh my gosh, what really gets me is like the sound effects when they kill her boyfriend, when they're like gutting him, just those sound effects, like everything is just so perfect. And I agree with someone in the comments about Scream 2's opening. I think it gets overshadowed by, of course, it's a franchise, so you're going to compare both movies. But I think Scream 2 had an iconic opening too. And can we please stop? Can we talk about how we keep letting Tyra skate as a Scream hater? Like we keep letting her skate as a Scream hater.
I am minding my business. I answered the question. I did it as I was told. What more do you want from me? You want me to sing its praises? I would never. No.
Oh, I agree. I actually enjoy Scream 2's opening as well, although they did kill the two coloreds at the very, very beginning. I actually do enjoy the opening of Scream 2. Shout out to the 45 people that are here. Come on, more. Let's get it up to 50. We're getting close to 50, y'all. Let's see what we got next. So this movie, this was last year, right? Last year, the year before, last year, I believe. I did not see it in theaters. I seen it when it came out. And the opening scene reminded me of a Final Destination movie. That Black Friday shopping scene was just silly and ridiculous and unserious. Nikki, how did you feel about the opening scene in Thanksgiving?
I hate this movie. But the opening, Elle Roth is just so terrible with writing characters. But just on the opening scene, I like the opening scene. It's chaotic. It's a lot going on with people getting killed and everything happening. But I would put it on the low end of openings just for my personal taste. The opening of Thanksgiving has kind of a comedic tone for me. Like it's not like really menacing and scary. It doesn't open like I like something to really like suck you in to like be scared. And this opening doesn't do that. So my personal taste, I would rank it a little low. But I mean, who doesn't love people getting slaughtered for like toaster ovens? Like that was fire.
Correct. D, what did you think about this silly, very silly opening scene in Thanksgiving?
Yeah, silly is the right word. Listen, I'm never gonna be mad by a piece of scalp getting ripped off and dragged away by a store cart. And that was something new for me to experience. Definitely agree that it's goofier, but I do, in a sense, because we do know the reality of how folks love to act a whole donkey out here with these Black Friday sales. I kind of liked how it played into that, even with the silliness. So that was a part of it that I thought was funny, just kind of speaking to, obviously in a more over the top way, but kind of like hinting or just kind of getting at that real life scenario that we see with Black Friday, but then just amping it up in this really, really crazy way. So yeah, so not as high, obviously, as some of the ones we're going to discuss, but I still was enjoyable, I think, in its own way.
It was, because I didn't actually expect that, especially with it hasn't been like that since like the pandemic or whatever. But before that, like Black Friday was like ridiculous. It was ridiculous. Shout out to the 60 people that's popping in here. Y'all are coming through. Thank you to all the horror people. Ashley, what did you think when you seen this?
Wow, I thought it was a comedy, but here's what it did, because it set me up for the okie doke. Because in the first like 10 seconds of the movie, you hear like the footsteps walking up to the front door, and I'm like, oh, I might be into something. And then I see McDreamy, and I'm like, okay, Patrick Dempsey, like I see you. What are you doing here? And then when we get to the Walmart or wherever we are, I'm like, oh, this is bedlam and it's hell. And is this a comedy? Really? From, like you said, the scalp being taken off by the cart, to the security guards not securitying, to the jocks. Like, I was like, okay, this is It tickled me. It tickled me, I will say, but they did set me up because I thought I was going to be I thought something was going to happen at the Thanksgiving dinner as soon as he walked in the house. I said, oh, they're cooking someone. That's immediately what I thought. But no, it gave comedy. I wasn't scared, but it did have me enthralled. I will say, I was like, what's going to happen next? So.
Yeah, it was. Somebody in the comments said, was this a good movie? No. But but watch the opening scene. You will be entertained by if you like Final Destination like movies, you will be entertained by the opening scene. After that, you really ain't got to do too much more. Tyra, what did you think about Thanksgiving?
Okay, out of all the movies you've propped up as a good movie, this one gets thrown on the ground. I had a good time with this movie. I love the opening scene. First of all, this film is called Thanksgiving. It's a holiday themed horror. We already know what we're getting there. Then when they open it with the Black Friday, it's like a parody, a horror parody of Black Friday. Not even the open scene. This is what I'm talking about, setting the tempo. If that hadn't happened and they would have dragged it out to make this something more serious than it was, I would have maybe been disappointed with, okay, like, no, that set the tone. I knew exactly what kind of movie I was going to be watching. Once again, it reminds me of those good old, 80s prom night, April Fool's type of movies, happy birthday films. I was in my pocket. I was in my 80s fantasy, living my best life in modern day at the theater. I had a good time with this movie, and the opening scene was just a plus. Everybody here is, they're haters. It's okay.
You would be the one. See, this is why we don't be eye to eye in the.
I had a good time.
I leave it to you
on my like top tier list of grand, openings. But for what it was, I was having a good time. It was never a dull moment in the theater for me.
This one, I can't. You know what? Might have to talk about this later on because the tropes in this movie. This movie was Eli Roth, and this movie was just. I can't. We'll have to talk about him at a later date because this movie was just silly. Quiet Place. Now I know we're at up to 3 of these. Quiet Place Day 1 disappointed me because there was no cold opening.
Not at all.
And I wanted that. But this original one, this one has to go down in history. Dee, how did you feel about the opening of the first Quiet Place?
It definitely took me by surprise. I remember being intrigued by the concept just from the trailer, but our introduction to that world, I did not think was going to be through not only the evisceration of it's what we would presume at the time to be a main character, but not even a child, like a toddler, infant, like out, down for the count, you gone. And now, boom, that's how this works. These are the stakes, and this is what we now have to contend with. And we now have to see them in the wake of that. So that to me was shocking in and of itself, because I think it would have been one thing, and it still would have been shocking, arguably, had it happened at some point later in the film. But for that to be the initial boom and realizing just how quickly one mistake can, like, quite literally be your last mistake. I thought that was wild to see.
Yeah, this movie let me know that my child is not going to make it because there is no parts of Trinity that is quiet at all. At all. Not even if we taped her mouth closed. Her or the dog are just not going to make it in this type of apocalypse. Nikki, what did you think about the opening of the original Quiet Place?
I thought this opening was really brilliant. I love the way it starts off where it's kind of a little serene. Like, oh, we in this little apocalypse. We shopping. Like, they don't really build a momentum. It just kind of bam, it just hits you. We're just watching them shopping. Yes, the kid makes a noise with the toy and everyone is like on alert, but it's still on like a little level. And then all of a sudden we walk in, we hold the little boy in our arms, the older little boy. And then all of a sudden and I love how we see it through the daughter where like, she's like, why are y'all looking back here? Like, well, I love how they play that. And then just bam, the kid gets taken. I love how they do that where they don't really like really hit you at the beginning. It starts off on a low scale, and I love the fact that it kind of gives you a all bets are off, because two things my mother always says about how horror has changed. You used to be safe in the church, and you used to know they wouldn't kill kids. I feel like when they kill kids, like all bets are off. Like for this, like, and like Dee said, not even like an older kid, like 10 or 12, like a little child, like, oh my God, it took us out, and it let you know off rip, nobody's safe. These are the stakes. Like, it really sets you up in this world to know that, oh shoot, like it's life or death at every second, and even the motherfucking kids could get it.
Absolutely. This was one, like you said, when it started off kind of, quiet. It's not really too much going on. We're getting introduced to the family. So I know me and my attention span, I wouldn't paying attention at the start. And when that little boy got snatched up, I was like, wait a minute, this escalated really quickly. And I had to go back and rewind it so that I could like fully take in what just happened. So if you're watching this and you're like me and you ain't fully paying attention, this was one that you really have to like look at, because it happened so fast. And it was unexpected, because we first of all, we didn't know what it was that they're dealing with. Nobody said that. You didn't see it in the trailers or nothing. So we didn't even know what we was dealing with to even be scared for the little boy.
And I Ashley, will say, though, it doesn't make any sense that kid was walking behind everyone. I don't care if a parent is if you're in the dang grocery store, you're not going to not have your eyes on your child. So especially if you're in an apocalypse, I'm sorry, but that irks. It's a brilliant opening, but the setup of having the youngest child in the back, that irks my soul. That irks. I don't even have kids, and I would not let a kid be walking behind me. Like, you keep your eyes on the kids.
Ashley.
Oh, yeah. I've never seen Jim from The Office run that fast. I was here for that moment. But before then, my thought process really was, okay, so we get it. We can't make noise. They were doing their sign language and everything in the store. But why not take the batteries out? Why not put the little toy airplane on the highest shelf in there? Like, I kind of blame the parents in this, but I will say, the suspense when I saw that whatever demon creature come and snatch that baby, I was like, okay, I kind of want to see what's going to happen. So if that's the test of a good opening, I'll say it was a great opening, because I wanted to keep watching.
Tyra.
Yeah, so since like, oh, they could kill them kids, okay? We don't have time. If you want me to know you mean business in your horror film, kill them kids and kill the elderly. This scene let me know like nobody was safe. I remember when I seen this in the movie, everybody was like, I stood up like, yeah, kill them kids. So excited, like for so long. Films are just so afraid, like, everybody's, somebody has to be safe, or this particular person or child or whatever is just untouchable. We don't do that in horror. No, kill them kids, take them babies out. I love this opening. I already knew, because I didn't see so many movies that set up the moment y'all didn't put them batteries in that toy on the highest shelf, as Ashley said. Like, the moment y'all let him walk in the back, in the movies, I was like, why they got him walking? I am that person in the movies. Please don't sit next to me. Why they got him walking in the back? He's supposed to be in the front. Us as Black mothers, get where I can see you. Get in front of me. That is the thumb rule you learn as a parent with your Black mama. Get in front of me. You don't walk behind me. They set that baby up for failure. Kill them kids. Go ahead, Kay. I love this opening. I love
it. I did. This movie made us go into the movie after that already upset for the family. And I like when movies make us care. Like, they made us care like they done already lost a child. We're invested in the first 10 minutes now. We already feel bad for the family and whatever else is going to happen. Dee, did I get to you before I go to the next?
Yes.
You said, did you get to me?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I was first.
Somebody in the comments mentioned this one. I think was that you, Dane? That said Dawn of the Dead. Ashley, I'm gonna go to you first, because you hadn't seen this one until then. What did you think about this opening scene.
So here's the thing, right? Because first of all, her face. There's no way, baby, you're not my child or not. You're not getting in this room. I'm not getting anywhere near you. Therefore, I'm not going to become a zombie. But honestly, what this reminded me of was, and again, I just saw this week. So I've seen The Last of Us. Right. It reminded me of the first episode of The Last of Us, how all of a sudden there's this outbreak and there's chaos and these people that have been turned, right? They wake up in the morning at 6 o'clock and all of a sudden their baby is like a demon zombie, right? And so it was kind of reminiscent of that. So it was kind of neat to think The Last of Us might have pulled from Dawn of the Dead for that. But again, yeah, it pissed me off. The fact that she lingered, the fact that she stood outside looking at the sky when she should have been in her car riding off into the sunset, really, really kind of ticked me off. And the fact that the dad went to go see about this baby where he saw her mouth was fully open, the teeth were bared, there's blood dripping. This is not your daughter anymore, sir. But again, if the test is grabbing your attention and making you want to watch, it achieved that.
This movie broke some survival rules. Now, I did a video a while back about how to survive a horror movie. She did a lot of things wrong here. Number one, you don't take showers. I didn't say not wash your ass. I said don't take a shower. Take a bath so you can see. Okay, the TV was clearly showing an emergency situation. She in the shower. She don't hear nothing. She don't know nothing. Just all oblivious. Number two, what did they say in Scream? Can't have sex.
And they got bucket naked.
Can't do it. So she already broke 2 rules. She already broke those rules. She, it was doomed after that. Dee, what did you think about the opening of Dawn of the Dead?
I will say it was a very effective opening. I have to say, the scariest part of this scene, and it's something that scares me no matter what I'm watching and I see this element, but seeing old girl and her husband kicking it, laying in the bed with the outside clothes on, shoes on.
Oh, that bothered me so bad. She came from a hospital and hopped her butt right on that bed with outside clothes on from the hospital. I said, oh no.
It took me a minute before I could get past it. I understand they were caking in the shower after that, but it took me a minute to get, because I'm like, that is my for me. So yes, outside of that, I did appreciate scenes like this. I appreciate because we get to see what we deem as, I guess, regular everyday life. And we see how quick, especially with at least for me, I could already kind of get the early 2000s aesthetic or vibe watching it. And so that already kind of took me back. But just how quickly, you mind your business, you go to sleep, it's regular day, and then all of a sudden you wake up and it's like, oh, the world, this is how the world ends. Like when we see apocalyptic events that happen, it's just like, this is how quickly this could happen. And I love just seeing like how quickly everything I loved how with the camera work, how they had us following the car, the different angles of the car. And they actually got me with that highway shot because I thought I was following her car, and then they showed another car pommel, and I was like, what? And then I realized that wasn't the car that she was actually riding in. So that was another little gotcha. But I think it was really well done.
Tyra, now come on now. What we got for Dawn of the Dead?
Oh, girl, this is one of my favorites here. This is one of my favorites. Like, once you see this opening, you remember it forever, which is really unique. Like, it's hard to really grasp onto something new with like a zombie movie. Like, what are you guys going to do that I haven't already seen a million times? I love this opening. First of all, I love that she got some, because hey, it's an apocalypse. Everybody turned into a zombie. Who knows? The next time I'm gonna be able to sleep with a man. She at least she got some from her husband. We gave her a logical reason to lollygag and linger around, because this is my husband. I'm not just gonna leave my husband. And it's just him just instantly turning. We get to see, they tell us everything that we need to know about this movie in literally 3 minutes. We have them go to bed, wake up. This is like, first of all, child, girl, get hit. I would have hit her like they did that when that girl turns in Zombieland and he hits her with that toilet seat cover. Girl, you better get out of my face, because why are you even in the room? That wouldn't have happened, but still, we got to take it, protect yourself at all time, and do your cardio. Because no, she wouldn't have been in there. But we get to see how quickly you are transforming. You get to see like the husband, just that raging, rampant lunatic, just that like, oh, I love it, I love it, I love it. Her getting in that car and just going out into complete, like, we was in the white suburb, it open. I think this little baby was on some roller skates, like, hey, like, have a good day, see you tomorrow. Then you just go outside to just pure chaos, and people, it's like every man for himself, like overnight. Favorite, love it. Then we coast into some Disturbed, Down with the Sickness. I was here. This is one of my favorite openings, period.
Yes, I love this version. And I know people like, the original Dawn of the Dead is good too, but it's something about this one. I don't know. It's just something about this version. Nikki, what you think of Dawn of the Dead?
Kind of like A Quiet Place. I like the progression. Like, it starts off where our lead is just, in the hospital. She's on her work shift. She gets home, like Tyra said, to the little white suburbs. Her husband watching, some kind of American Idol-esque show. Like, it just starts where it's just like, okay, like we're building the character where we are, setting everything up. And the thing though that really gets me is when they wake up in the morning. Forget how the little girl face look, because you just woke up, your eyes blurry. If you like me, you can't even damn see when you first wake up because you gotta reach for your glasses. So forget the little girl face being messed up. Why is Lily in my house? Like, y'all are not shocked, disturbed, or anything that this little girl was able to breach your home and get inside. It's just like, oh, it's just Tuesday. Lily got into our house. Like, oh, okay. That makes no sense. And I like how we have a character that doesn't necessarily do flat out stupid things. She may do things that don't seem very smart, but like Tyra said, like, it makes sense in the moment. You just saw your husband out of the blue murdered. You get outside. It makes sense to me that when she got outside, she kind of looked around, stared for a minute. Your instinct and your reflexes are not going to kick in and just be like, oh, you're shocked. Like, she goes outside, we're surveying, we're seeing that it has turned into chaos outside. And I love how she is driving down that highway. Old boy try to hop his ass into the car, into the car. That pisses me off so bad, because, sir, what did you think you was about to do? Like, I'm in the driver's, you could have at least hopped your behind in the passenger seat or the back seat. How are you hopping in the seat that I'm in?
A citizen's move. I need the vehicle, ma'am.
That made no sense. But even when she is introduced to, I think it was Ving Rhames' character, and he's like telling her to speak, and she just staring at him like, chick, you better speak before I shoot you, thinking you one of these things. This is definitely one of the greatest horror openings ever. For me, unfortunately, this is where the movie kind of peaks. But this opening is amazing.
Vic, she had ate them parents. It was too late. They got ate up already. They was turned.
I just don't understand why we were not like, oh, why is this little girl in our house? Like, that threw me.
Exactly. And why was y'all's door unlocked? First of all, how she get in there? Because zombies ain't supposed to know how to open the doors. That's from what I know. So I don't know how she got in there unless y'all had the door open. Shout out again to the over 60 people that's in the chat right now in the live. Let's see. We getting into number 5. What we got? Now we're gonna start with Nikki on this one because we did a whole lot for this. We did a whole live for 28 weeks later, not 28 days. 28
I ride hard
weeks later because I had some issues. We were trying to decide, was he the villain in this movie? If you have not seen 28 weeks later, I need you to go watch it so you can help me decide, is he the villain? My answer was yes. This man was Olympic running away from this house, and his wife was in the window waving.
I would have been too.
And he didn't even look back at her and wave to say, like, I'm going to call you. I'm going to come back. I'm going for help. He glanced at her and he sprinted. I didn't even know he could run that fast and left her ass. Nikki.
Let me tell you, Dom was not a villain because look, first of all, I told you not to even open the front door when you wanted to let the little boy in. Then when the little boy ran, I told you to bring your tail. You are not listening to me as I am trying to ensure our survival. I can't fight you and fight the zombies. I'm trying to tell you to come the hell on. And it's also this whole opening. Lord, I feel like this opening I would put above the Dawn of the Dead opening we just talked about. I love this opening. It is so masterful. That rage virus is just something else. And we see 2 occurrences in this opening where someone doesn't do what someone is trying to tell them to save them. When the guy is trying to help the old couple and he keeps trying to tell the old lady to come up and climb, but she focused on her man. But once the zombies break in, she yelling for lady, I told you to climb. I will help you once. If you my wife, I will try to help you twice. But baby, I am not risking what you want us to die together. We are not Romeo and Juliet. I told you to come on and you didn't. So guess what I'm finna do? I'm finna close the door. I'm finna say bye. I'm finna peace out. I'm finna jump out the window. And you gonna just see the smoke as I am running through that field. Because if his wife would have listened to him, they would have both maybe made it out, because once we get to the boat, it gets a little dicey. But I feel like I am not about to go on my sword. If I can help you, I will help you. But this opening shot that is my fave is when we see Dom running through the countryside and you just see the horde of the baby. Do you see how fast we do not have time to think, scratch, move? If I say we gotta go, we gotta go. His wife was so focused on the little boy, which I get. If I can help the little boy, I'm gonna help him. But baby, he ain't our little boy. We have kids we need to get to. I'm sorry. In this instance, I'm gonna have to be as cold as Tyra. Kill them kids. We gotta go. Get on the boat. Dom himself literally barely makes it. He makes it by the skin of his teeth. So what do you expect him to do for his wife? And my rant is over. Dom is not the villain.
Before I go to the next person, Rick Grimes wouldn't have did that. Okay. My husband's Rick Grimes. He wouldn't have left me in the house like that.
Okay,
all right.
Okay, them zombies with Rick Grimes, they slowed in molasses. We got a little time. Okay, got a little time. We don't got time here.
Tyra, also you, because you also feel like he wasn't the villain here.
What you want me to do? First of all, this is not my son. These not my children. I ain't birthed this baby. I wouldn't open the door, first of all. Okay. In these type of situations, the easiest way to die is to try to be a hero. I'm not trying to be a hero. I'm trying to survive. Take care of mine. If you want to be safe, I suggest you hurry up and come on. The moment she decided to pause to look for that little boy, first of all, when I tell you to come on, that's what my black children. When I tell you to come on, I mean come on. You know, you going, you running off, and you gonna go run after him. Girl, if you want to die, just say that. Then gonna get mad like. She wanted them to have a Romeo and Juliet situation. You know what? We're gonna die in here together. Dom said, hell no, somebody got to be here to raise our children. Okay, I have to leave. Like Nikki said, it's a whole countryside of zombies running up. He was not the villain. He told her to come on several times. Clearly, we had a plan and a route. I don't know what happened, because everybody had the same notation of, if somebody happens to get in here, this is the route we're taking to get out of here and get to the boat. The moment you deviate from that, you on your own. I don't care if you my husband, my wife. I might have flooded a little bit for my children, because you know you're scared. As an adult, when I tell you this is what we're doing, this is what have your ass there. What did you want him to do, Kay?
He was supposed to wait for her and come back, or at least he was supposed to come back and bring help, do something.
Did you see the way the zombies looked? Did you see how many of them there it was? Like, he was out of, oh shit. He was out of breath. He was tired. Like, what? I just didn't understand what y'all wanted Dom to do. Shout out to Dom. He did everything he could in that moment, and there was nothing else left to do. I'm sorry. But beautiful opening.
Wanted him to die.
One of my favorites. I love this opening. It never gets stale. Every single time you watch this movie, it's the best thing about this second installment for me.
Ashley, what you think? You think he should have been?
So here's the thing. I think Rumpelstiltskin is going to Rumpelstiltskin in whatever series he's in. Okay. Because if you watch Once Upon a Time, you already know who this man is. And my thing is, when they say don't let the people in, don't let the people in. The little boy brought the horde with him. I actually wasn't mad. I honestly thought he was going to kick the Indian dude off the boat, honestly, because he was dragging. I was surprised he reached out and lent a hand to try with him after we saw what we saw. But listen, this man wanted to live. And again, this was a great opening. I agree with Nikki as far as the shot when he's running and the horde approaching. You felt the weight of it, even when they get in the water and he's on that little rowboat or whatever it was, because that wasn't the type of boat I need when I'm dealing with a zombie apocalypse. But honey, he hopped right on it. He reached out a hand. The hand didn't work, right? The zombies got, oh boy. But listen, we got to do what we got to do to survive, and we can't expect anything more from Rumple. You can't.
Thank you.
D, come on now. How you feel about him?
So let me say this. As someone who used to appreciate getting rides back in college before I had a car, but simultaneously despised when I would be ready to go and leave an event and I would just wait and wait and wait and wait because I don't have no other way home. I've realized that when it's time to go, it's time to go. And sometimes you have to run off on the plug twice. So I understood. Sorry, but I understood what the That's it.
No, run off on the plug twice.
Boy. Oh my goodness. You know what? I hope y'all significant others all know this. And I hope they see this and know that if it comes to the zombie apocalypse,
these are unusual.
Can get
There's
left.
nothing to know. I already told mine, look, I'm focused on getting my babies. Okay. You better be focused on getting the babies too. And this is the direction we're going in. Don't be waiting. I already told you, first of all, I can't even lift half your body weight. I can't muster that. I gotta get my babies. I can't pack you and drag you nowhere.
These are conversations to have in your relationships. If the zombie apocalypse break out, and are we gonna be in this together, or is it every man for themselves? Like how we playing this?
Kay got the significant other that needs to be warned because Kay want her husband to drop down and die. Like Kay gonna want her husband to just die. Like if I can't live, my husband can't live. Somebody please go check on Kay's husband because she wants him to die if she can't live.
No, we need to survive together because Rick Grimes would have did that. Okay, they'd have got both made it out. Okay, he ain't leave nobody. We don't leave people.
Already debunked that theory, Kay. Don't bring it in here.
If you put Rick Grimes in the world of 28 weeks later, baby, Rick finna get torn the hell apart. Period. Because Rick always want to play a hero and save somebody. Always trying to save somebody.
You know what? Before we get into this top, shout out to the 64 people that are in here on a Friday talking about horror stuff. I appreciate all y'all. Let's take a brief intermission. as we move into this next one, let me try to do a little something fancy with hold on. Wait a minute.
There you go.
You got some super chats, Kay.
Oh, hold on. Let me get in here. Dane. Since nobody is super chatting, go ahead and put it on there. You know, you always come through.
Lead the pack, Dane.
Yeah, start them off. Start them off. Thank you for always showing up. Get Out now.
You missed the super chat, Kay.
You got another one above it. Yeah.
Scroll up. You got to scroll.
Okay. Let's see. Lauren with the $10 super chat. When it's time to go, it's time to go.
And it is.
So okay, but when it's time to go, now are you gonna go by yourself? Or are you gonna grab the significant other? What we gonna do? What we doing?
I can tell what kind of partner you are, Kay, because how many times did he try to tell that lady to come the hell on and she didn't?
Kay is the partner who linger and talk and be conversing, and then get her man be sitting, her husband like, man, she don't come on. I've been ready to go for I don't know how long. I'm sitting here waiting on Kay because she over there conversating with her Star Wars. Okay.
I just let me know. Y'all put it in the chat. If the zombie apocalypse happen, if y'all gonna be together, like what would they say? Bad boys, we ride together, we die together, or y'all like every man for himself? Like I need to know. Getting into this next movie. Now, I don't often see this on other people's lists of, cold openings. But for me, this is a nightmare. This is a complete nightmare to be walking around at night, trying to find your car, trying to get back home, and you get abducted. And the next time you show up, you're not even you anymore. Ashley, since this was your first watch of Get Out, what did you think about this opening scene with Lakeith?
I thought it was horrific and traumatic. And why are you there for this ugly girl? Because I sat up and watched this whole movie, but she was not cute. And the way she was pulling all them black folks, male folk, women folk, and she just was from the land of uncute. Like, it really disturbed my spirit. It really, really did. And then they have him looking like Farmer John, but we're just talking about these first couple of moments here. And yes, it's traumatic. You walking in this neighborhood, you don't know these people, you don't know who they are. You talking to your girl on the phone, and then you get snatched up and abducted and lobotomized or brain transplanted or whatever. This was horrific. From start to finish, this movie was a nightmare. This was the most horror of all of these on the list, in my opinion. But Lakeith looked good in them first couple moments. But yeah, I'm scared too. I'm trying to get across the street too. I'm trying to walk on the other side. I'm trying to knock on somebody's door and go in the house because, you're going to get snatched. Yeah, it was horrific, Kay. Thank you.
Nikki, how did you feel about it?
I know this is a movie that it gets a lot of hype. I'm not as crazy about Get Out as everybody else. I think it's a good movie, but just to the extent that people go up for Get Out, I'm not on that train. Again, I do like the movie, but I do think this is one of the best horror openings. I think this opening is brilliant, particularly if you're a Black person. This experience. I don't care if I was going to a house party, go meet up with somebody, whatever the heck, and I'm directionally challenged, okay? And trying to find somebody's house at nighttime with my messed up eyesight. I love this opening. I think it's brilliant. And I love how they play on the real life horror of being Black in this situation and what that entails. And people always call me paranoid, baby. When I tell you, I will be checking for the cars. I be checking how long this car being behind me as I'm driving home. I be so paranoid about my surroundings. And this is why, because some white person might snatch me up and get in my brain, sipping tea. I don't know. But this opening was really brilliant. And I'm not the biggest Lakeith Stanfield fan. I kind of really don't care for him. No disrespect to that man, but I thought he was really great in this opening. When they jack his lanky ass up from behind, just yoke him up, it was just so good. Yes. The car they rolled up in, his phone conversation, everything he was saying, the neighborhood, the way it's shot, is 10 out of 10. One of the best horror openings ever.
Absolutely. D, how you feel about the opening of Get Out?
So I have a core memory from when I was younger watching New York Undercover. And there was a scene where a babysitter was watching a child, and the child was standing under this bridge. I believe it was in Central Park. And the child was tossing up and down this Barney toy. Mind you, the same exact Barney toy I had and still have to this day. And all of a sudden, she talks to someone, she's looking, she turns her head just for a little bit. She looks back, and the boy is gone, the toy is on the ground. And from then on, that has been I have different fears, but that was a core fear for me at a very, very young age, which I'm thankful for, because it's good to kind of be aware of how the world works. But it was a lot for me to contend with. And I think circling around here, in keeping with what everyone else has said thus far, I think it's just bringing that fear, not just on a personal level, but on a lot of other different levels, racially, culturally, in a lot of different ways, and why that hits so hard. And also, considering that we know the culture and how that can also be when it comes to women as well, I thought it was interesting also, and not that there was commentary, but I thought it was interesting to highlight the reality of that happening to a man as well, and that, being a man does not just protect you from, being caught up in a similar situation. So yeah, I think it was a very unique way to highlight everything that comes after, because you would never really guess that scene would be connected to all the craziness and zaniness we see later on. But it's a very interesting way to hint at it early on.
Oh, absolutely. And yes, I was one of those people watching New York Undercover. Why did our parents let us watch that? I don't know. Shout out to the 70 plus people in the live right now. Tyra, Get Out.
I love this opening. I love this movie. And I love this opening. And I love me some Lakeith. This is just it was just really great. I'm a score and like sound person, especially for horror. So when you find some of the most obscure white plantation sound and music to play, like run.
Yes, I'm glad somebody said something about that. Yes.
It just felt like, okay, something isn't safe. I love that we show him as a black man having some discernment on the phone, like, it's late, I'm a black man in this neighborhood. It's just like, as soon as you see, like, nope, not going that way. Let me, he made sensible choices before it actually happened. And of course, I did love that it wasn't, your typical victim that you would see in this light. It was a man. And I don't know at what age we have that fear. I think it's because our mothers, once again, stay in front of me where I can see you. They used to be my mama, you want to get kidnapped? Like, no, mom, you don't want to get kidnapped. I want to get kidnapped. And it instills in me till this day. I don't care what's going on. If somebody asking you, it's late, can you meet me? The first thing that's going to come out of my mouth, girl, no, I ain't trying to get kidnapped. So it really plays on those fears of being, in the wrong place at the wrong time and getting kidnapped. And then it's in this quiet suburb where you would think like, I'm safe, but not only as a black man in this area am I not safe, but I'm not safe in jail because somebody rolling up and they run rabbit music and they gonna yoke me up. Like, I loved it. It just set the tone for like nobody being safe, and I'm always here for that. It did what it needs to do in literally 2 minutes.
Absolutely, and it was a really quick opening as well. But I'm like with Nikki when they dragged his little long leggings in that car. Like that's it. I was just like, okay, so this is what we're doing already. This is where we're headed in this movie. So I really love Get Out for that. And like I said, this is usually doesn't make most people's list, but it's on mine for that reason. This movie be on everybody's list. Ashley, coming to you first, because I know again this was one you haven't seen.
This was traumatic. This was freaking traumatic. This was traumatic. I was like, okay, so then you have, I'm thinking, okay, they on the ship. you know, they're having a ball, a gala, whatever. They're dancing, you know, cheek to cheek. It's a moment. And then we get a Final Destination play with the whole wire coming loose, chopping literally everyone in half, severed. I mean, head. And then they still trying to crawl post-mortem, which is freaky as hell. I will say this made me want to know what was going to happen, because the only person living was a little girl with all these bodies. So it's like, what's going to happen next? And I think that's indicative of a good opening. Like, I was not expecting that. I was expecting something, but I literally wasn't expecting everyone to be chopped in half. I wasn't expecting it.
Oh, absolutely. This was like one, and the way they set it up, they started the movie like a Disney movie. They had this classical movie music playing. They had somebody on the stage singing. Even the font looked very family oriented type font. It really looked really like Disney. We're on a boat and this is family. We're on vacation. And the next thing you know, when that old boy flipped that switch and that wire went up, and it turned into a very different movie. D, what did you think about the beginning of Ghost Ship?
Yeah, well, first, let me say, Dark Castle deserves their flowers for really helping shape my appreciation of horror throughout the years. House on Haunted Hill, 13 Ghosts, House of Wax, Ghost Ship, of course. So many films that I enjoy. And I don't think there's anyone I can think of that I don't enjoy. But what you said is what threw me off, because I remember seeing the trailer. I was excited to see Ghost Ship at the time. I remember seeing the trailer, and granted, this was already kind of coming off of my enjoyment of Titanic. So I'm just like, oh, imagine Titanic went with this like weird horror twist. So I was excited. But I promise you, I watched that beginning, I was just like, so is this like a fake out? I was very confused because, like you said, it was like the music, the style, the vibe, and everything. And I know better to know, but it's still, there have been a couple of times where I'm just like, because I've seen a couple of situations where we walked into the wrong theater or they roll the wrong film. So for a second, and then I saw where it said Ghost Ship in the pink. So I'm like, did they, like, I'm confused. And
exactly.
and then I recognize, my girl from the Series of Unfortunate Events, and some other films I've seen her in. And when that wire comes, I was like, and there it is. And I thought it was the perfect setup. And I just think, all the wire stuff was messed up, but when old girl looks up and she sees that line across his mouth, and then the whole thing comes forward, and all you see is her screaming. And even how you learn what happens after that, because it's like, I'm thinking, because my only thought was at that point was, okay, are they going to sail into like a fog and like disappear or something like that? So like I said, for it to be as grisly and horrific as it was, yeah, perfect way to start things off.
Absolutely. Tyra, how did you feel about the beginning of this movie?
Well, first, on my end, it is 50 people in this chat. Y'all get over there and go subscribe to K. Y'all see the content. It's here. It's all here. Get over 80 there.
80 plus in the chat.
Subscribe to K. Y'all in here. Please go and support K. Let's not mistake it. Ghost Ship is not a good movie.
Now we say that part.
Ghost Ship is not a good movie. So for it to just be mentioned in the conversation just off the strength of an opening means that it's a damn good opening. Like, I love this opening. I'm a sucker for a ghost, The Shining, like references with how the ghosts looked. I love that. And I love any horror scenes where we get to some type of contraption and we're killing multiple people at once. Oh, the body count gets high. I love it. I love it. And it's just really memorable for that. Like, I will roll up on Ghost Ship and just watch the intro and nothing else, because I don't care to. But it's up there with really great openings. It just always like boggle my mind how that opening is just so effective, and then the rest of the movie is like, what? Like, what happened? Like, whoever wrote this, they needed to write the rest, because it just seems disjointed. But it really got this one thing right, and I will be gladly rolling up to just watch the first 5 minutes of Ghost Ship, and I'm not going to watch the rest.
Nikki.
I really have to evaluate my life choices and who I surround myself with because Tyra's such a hater. Ghost Ship is a classic, okay? Ghost Ship is a classic. And shout out to D for naming the hits. He just named the hits. But I love this opening. I love this movie. The only mistake the movie makes is in the way they kill off Isaiah Washington's character. That ish was kind of, But outside of that, when the opening scene when old boy is chopped in half and he trying to pull the bottom half of his body together, like it's amazing. This is the stuff I lived for as a kid. I wanted blood, guts. I wanted people chopped the heck up. Okay, yes, it's masterful the way they do this opening. It is so brilliant. And y'all don't listen to Tyra. This movie is amazing.
It's not.
Look, for those who haven't seen it, just watch the first half. The first just 5 to 10 minutes, and then see afterwards. Isaiah Washington is in this movie. We already know that he ain't making it to the end, but just see in the opening if you like that kind of thing. But if you haven't seen this movie, it's on you. The opening scene is on YouTube. Yeah, go look this movie up on YouTube.
Washington with that white woman.
That's the only thing that made me mad.
Now, I know this is different, but I have to tell you why this made my list. Now, this wasn't a horror scene in the beginning, but listen,
this is horror.
It works for me.
The way I look at it, right, is that they having a rave, right? They bring it because if y'all never seen Blade, which everybody should have, they having a rave. They bring this one guy in it who don't know that this is a vampire club, okay? Until the blood, comes from the ceiling, and then he figures it out, and he gets got. And Blade notices it's a rave. He come in there. How come no blood from the ceiling got on his coat? Whatsoever. Help me understand. He literally went in there and came out clean as a whistle. Tyra.
Because he Blade. He's too cool for that.
Exactly.
Wasn't they touching his coat? Girl, this trench coat. Wasn't they touching none of this? I'm swift like that. Like, he too cool to get dirty. What are you saying? Like, I love this opening. It's first of all, it's so 90s with the rave and the whole thing and the underground. Like, it's what we thought the club and parties was gonna be like when we grew up, and it wasn't never giving that. It wasn't never giving that. But I love this opening scene. Like, I'm glad you put it here because it rarely gets any play. Everybody loves Blade, but I don't think people just acknowledge the opening scene like that. It's really, really good. Like, you just to see Wesley here, I remember, I'm with Nikki now. Like, I remember 98 being in that theater. It was a double feature for one ticket. I went and seen how Stella got her groove back, and then I went and seen Blake. It was so good. Like, we just had never seen. It just predates so much, and then we get into like the effects being really good. Blade was like really. This was before The Matrix came out. Like, it was just so good. Like, I love this scene. I love the fact that he didn't get a drop of blood on him. Why would I? I'm so cool with that. I'm Blade. Like, it's just good. Like, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna watch this as soon as we get off here because I just love.
It just showed us how smooth.
Put this in the margin. Put it in the margin. Go roll up on Blade and just. I haven't seen it in a while, but it's something that I love every time I see it. Like, it never gets old, ever.
Oh, I watch this movie all the time. I don't know why. This is one of my favorites. It just showed us how smooth he really was. Like, we ain't really seen it. We knew vampires was cool, but vampires got they got extra cool when Blade came on the scene. Okay, wow. And the rave music is iconic. Okay, you can't beat that music. When you hear that song at the beginning, it make you feel like you at a rave too. D,
not even cool, Kay, because I think the bar for like cool was still like stuck in the 80s with vampires like the Lost Boys. To see West or like you would get the Bram Stoker's, old Dracula, he was cool as hell. Shout out to Wesley. Come on, if they could get the Blade together so we can see Mahershala, do something with that, please. So that's it. I'm thinking.
Dang. Shout out to you for hitting with the super chats again. Wishmaster. First of all, how many people have actually seen Wishmaster?
I love Wishmaster. I just saw it again yesterday.
I have.
Oh, okay.
Put some respect on
I know y'all was in Wishmaster like that. Okay.
Yeah.
We got some Wishmaster people in here.
Seen all
Honorable
of them.
mention.
Even when it was that ugly lead, when they switched up the whole imagery of the Wishmaster and with that purple looking thing. Seen all of them. I love the Wishmaster franchise. It's slept on. It's fun.
It is.
It is. D, Blade opening.
Quick question, excuse me for this, but Tyra, is your partner dark skinned by any chance?
Of course.
Okay. So I was
Where
just
did that come from?
okay. No. I just put something together because she just mentioned that she saw a double feature featuring two distinctly dark-skinned men. So I wondered if that was a clue, if that was I'm putting the pieces together.
Connecting the dots.
Yeah, connecting the dots. That's fine. We can move on. Now, as far as
You're not alone, Tyra. Me too. So, D, continue.
So yes, I think as far as the scene, I just think it's obvious that just I don't know, like there's so many words, adjectives for it, but clearly like all of this, the aesthetic, the half and half, the dumb fear, like all of that, it just repels the drops. And I think what's understood doesn't have to be explained. So we'll go with that. And I just think the fact that we have this whole idea of these vampires partying in a blood-soaked rave, it's just like it automatically brings you into that world in such a unique way. And there are so many different ways to like interpret vampires, but it kind of makes sense. It's just like we go to a rave and hey, we just get soaked in blood and we're having fun. And then he comes in and just blows everyone's spot up, literally and figuratively. So yeah, I think it was a perfect introduction just to the world and of course to Blade himself.
Absolutely. Ashley, what you think of Blade coming in this club?
You know, I love it. You know, I love it. And my thing was the young man, the sacrifice, the victim, the food for the night. He deserved it, because why are you in there talking about your package on the way to the rave? You know what I'm saying? He was a horn dog. He wanted that cootenanny, okay? And he got more than what he paid for. He was a snack, okay? Not even a full meal. They all took a bite. And I was here for that moment. The aesthetics, again, were here. I was completely in the element. And again, like Tyra, like everyone on the panel has said, he's Blade. He's like the Shaft vampire hunter. Like he's gonna stay clean. He's going to take him out and he's going to stay clean doing it. And thank you for adding this too, because it's so topical. I literally just saw a little interview with Wesley, and you know, because they're kind of on him. You know what I mean? Like, get this man to do a cameo if we ever get another Blade. This was iconic.
Because some MFers always trying to ice skate uphill. Nikki. Oh.
Why you had to say that before I go? I feel like when people play the genre semantics, what I don't think people realize is multiple elements of like different genres can be in one movie. And one subgenre that doesn't get really talked about because we don't have a lot in that subgenre is the action horror subgenre. And Blade is very much giving action horror. And another example would be John Carpenter's The Thing. While the movie isn't necessarily action horror, Kurt Russell in The Thing is definitely giving action hero. So I think Blade absolutely fits here. And people, for me, what irks me, and I'm not really even into comic books, is people do not credit Wesley and Blade for the revival of Marvel. If I'm not mistaken, they were like about to go bankrupt. They were a revival of them. And it was a black man, baby. Okay. But in this opening, I feel like Dee said, great introduction to the world. But I feel like, and I will argue anybody down, this is the coolest character introduction in all time, the history of cinema, like period. Nobody came in like Blade. It was amazing. And I love the actual horror elements in this opening where you have this. And again, I do feel like like it was, I forgot who said it with the Get Out intro. It's something about when you typically see a horror and you know you got the you know girl getting chased and but when it's a horror opening and it's a man that's a victim, it does add another element. And I love how he's like crawling on the floor and everyone's like you know, kind of roaring at him, and it's this hopelessness. Where the heck is he supposed to go? Like, what is he supposed to do? And then as he's crawling, all you see is the boots, the bad ass boots. And then the way the camera pans up, okay? And baby, Wesley just standing there, and like Kay said, the music. I ain't even in the techno, but baby, that's my song. I would be this is literally just such a masterful opening from top to bottom. And I love Mahershala Ali. That is my that's my but I am not here for a Blade remake, reimagining, nothing, because Wesley Snipes is Blade, period.
Period. The panel has spoken.
Girl, I would have been little trail up in that rave.
Not on the dance floor. Where's Latrell?
With the glow sticks and everything.
Whistle and all.
D. Let's talk about the opening of it. Now I got the pictures from the newer version, but the old school version of it was when I realized that children were not safe. Because poor Georgie, I didn't think, like I said, I thought children was off. We can't go get not the little ones. And that's not how it went, you know.
Yes. This is a core memory, and I've seen both adaptations, and of course I've read the original novel. So all three of those, you know, they're very different depictions, although the core situation is the same. But what I would definitely say about the initial film back in the 90s, Tim Curry. Let me just say this. I grew up in the Midwest, Chicago specifically, and I used to watch the morning show with Bozo. Well, that all came to an end. I was just like, Lordy, I just was not prepared. But I will say this, what I appreciate, and I think they kind of hinted this in the book as well, but I think what is most effective about Pennywise to me is how he preys on children and how he is in many ways this supernatural manifestation of a predator, or of a child predator, I should say. And so the way he's able just to lure these children into this false sense of security, like, oh, you know, do you smell the popcorn? And oh no, and then getting them to feel sorry for him and all these things, and then you'll float too. And the next thing you see, and I think for me, what I appreciated the most about the original version is just, and of course it's because it's on television, so they couldn't depict a whole lot. But it's like when he says "you'll float too" and he grabs Georgie, just the last thing you see is his mouth opening with his eyes having changed, and the next thing you see is a casket and a funeral. I was just like, oh well. So yes, such a brutal way to start things off, and definitely a learning lesson for me as far as reshaping my perception of clown.
Oh yeah, that's why I have on my shirt the "You'll Float Too."
Yeah,
had to represent it today. Tyra, what did you think of it?
Oh, I was like, oh, they mean business. First, I grew up on that. I used to run that Tim Curry. I love Tim Curry down. I used to run it into the ground. What I can say I love about that old school it is that even though the scenario is like, why? And like, why are you talking to a clown in the sewer? Tim Curry actually looks inviting. He looks like a clown, like a happy clown. Bill Skarsgård looks like a demon in the sewer. So
yes.
What I loved about this one is that they were like, yeah, all of that little 90s PG ABC movie, yeah, none of that here. We're gonna bite Georgie's arm. I love the increase in violence here, and just his arm reaching all out. You know how I feel about them killing the kid, and even little Georgie in the street. Let's see. I see so much when he's crying, holding with his little one arm. Like it's just ups the ante versus what we've been looking at, you know, in the 90s. If you were, you know, watching these movies as a kid, but it's good. But you know, hey, why are we talking clowns in the sewer? I don't know. Why was it always irks me? Like, I don't know if it's just us and our culture, but unless you are of a certain age, and maybe not even then, you're not going outside alone. Now I know that's supposed to be you know, a testament to Derry, and you know, it's a safe town. Those type of things don't happen here. But baby, no, why are we outside alone and we about 6? Nope, absolutely not. No, but I love it. And I also love the shot of the who is that? The neighbors nearby, to like, you know, just not having any care, any discernment for Georgie, like, oh, something's going on. Oh, there was just a boy there. Like you just really playing into Derry, not only being the way it is because of It the Clown, but also the people who inhabit Derry, the parents who are just always terrible. But yeah, I love this opening. It's good. Kill them kids.
See, couldn't have been me, because my mom was like, if I can't see you, you too far. So Pennywise wouldn't have got me. Nikki.
Now, I don't know if it's because I was raised the only child and I didn't have nobody to play with, but I was always outside by myself at 6 years old. I was always outside, and not just staying on the porch. I was down the block. But I can't talk about the original miniseries opening. That was 100 years ago. I cannot remember. I haven't seen that since. But it's very serendipitous. I literally just watched It 2017 for the first time like 2 days ago. Yes. The movie pissed me off, so I didn't finish it. But but no spoilers, because I might go back to finish it. I got like an hour in, it was pissing me off. But this opening was so amazing. I felt like my heart broke for little Georgie. I thought it was so tragic how they filmed him. It like he was in a shark attack, just wading in the puddle. I could not believe that they really went there with the kid. Mm-hmm. They did not insinuate him getting hurt, or they showed it. Yes. And Bill Skarsgård, let me tell you, the only way that I will ever detour from my dark-skinned men that I love is to get into that Skarsgård family. I will marry into that family. Baby, Bill Skarsgård, y'all know I love a man I'm a little frightened of. I am obsessed with Bill Skarsgård in this role. Can you come home in the makeup, baby? Please come home in the makeup. Oh. I love him as that clown. It was so amazing. The voice he put on, I know I can't be the only one, but this opening, the town, the scenery, the makeup on the clown, his voice, the way they angle where you're looking at him in the sewer and they're having this conversation, and it's brilliant. I never got around to this until now, because I'm not the biggest Stephen King fan, but I was very pleasantly surprised. Like the horror and the story and the characters, and I can't stand watching stuff with kids and teenagers, but it is all so good and so well done. Like I was blown away. This opening for me, one of the best ever in horror. It's pretty brilliant.
Alexander Skarsgård is looks much better. I just want that out there. So it's just you.
No, I'm not scared of Alex.
Not even in True Blood.
I never saw True Blood.
Nikki. That's a whole other conversation later. You slipping, Nikki. You slipping. Ashley, because
I had that same girl. I had the same sentiment as far as Alexander, because Bill Who, when it comes to Alexander, that's a tall Viking. Like, listen, and if you watch True Blood, you'd have been scared of him too a little bit. Eric was him, okay? But anyway, this was my favorite opening of all of this list of these movies you had me watch, okay? Like, cinematically, to me, it was shot so beautifully. Like you felt like you were in a dream initially, right? And I loved that. I loved the lighting of it. I thought that was completely epic. But let's talk about this diabolical, raggedy neighbor. You saw the blood in the water and you just said, oh, it's another day. Let me go on, keep sweeping my porch and let the blinds down or whatever. And first of all, you had like the little netting around her little porch. It was cute, but yeah, it was diabolical. I'm never talking to a clown in a sewer, but I get it. Georgie, he just wanted to play. He wanted to get his little toy back, his ball, whatever it was. And he lured him in. This is grooming. This was definitely a predatory moment. But again, I was scared. This made me literally want to finish the movie. Did I finish it that day? No, but I do plan on watching it this weekend. I plan on watching it this weekend, but it was shot beautifully. I think it was amazing. And I only watched the 2017 version, so I don't have a basis of comparison for the older one. But
this one, I mean, the same thing happened in the beginning, but this was a lot more brutal. Like this was like, yeah, it's like they took it there to see poor little Georgie and nobody out there to come and help him, and it's like you're watching him like I just wanted like poor like where's his brother? Where the parents at? And watching him get like dragged down. Yeah, this was brutal, by the way.
And there's an explanation for the neighbor as well. So I'll just say
just keep watching. Just keep watching.
Yeah, I think they'll reference it later.
we can't give it all away, but yeah, Ashley, go back and finish this. Maybe watch it in the daytime.
Okay. Oh Lord, it ain't even that deep.
I'm scared. But I'm trying to get Ashley ready because I don't want her up all night talking about y'all told me to watch the rest of this movie. And matter of fact, Nikki ain't even finished watching the rest of the movie.
Yeah, a special breed of person.
Man, them bullies was pissing me. I can't stand the bully trope, and the bullies got on my nerve. I had to cut the movie off.
In Stephen King universe, you gotta have some. It's gonna be some bullies every time. Terrible bullies too, like just serious bullies. Like his bullies are on 25.
These bullies, oh god, Jesus, yeah. First 48 hours, bullies.
First 48 hours. Before we get into the last one, I want to say I picked this because as a millennial, this has instilled a lifelong fear in all of us. Okay. There is not a moment that I see this and I don't have a traumatic experience and it didn't even happen to me. So the last one we're going to talk about, Final Destination 2. Them log trucks. This unlocked a whole fear for a whole generation. I cannot be behind a log truck. I cannot. There's no way I'm gonna drive. I got to switch lanes. I don't care if I'm about to get off the exit or anything. I'm not gonna ride behind it because you know what? I know what's gonna happen to me. If it happened in this movie, I feel like it can happen for real. Ashley, what you think about Final Destination 2?
Again, core memory shaped me. To this day, I will never be behind anything with any sort of huge anything on the back of it on the interstate. And I'm watching for people throwing out lit cigarettes because I don't know what's going to happen, right? Like, this is a whole new level. Rewatching this intro, though, I was like, the most was going on. These people were not paying attention to the road, okay? And it's a wonder how everyone, well, we know what happens. But anyway, one is literally snorting the dope, right? We have other people they were doing the absolute most on the road. They almost, I don't want to say anybody deserved it, but it was bad. Iconic core memory. It stays with me to this day. And it got you hooked. I mean, and again, I watched Final Destination, the first one, the second one. This is probably one of the only horror franchises that I've watched like 3 or 4 of the movies. So yeah, this is definitely a core memory. And of course I was going to watch. This is millennial lore again, just like Scream.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. D, what you think about Final Destination 2 opening scene?
When I tell you shaped a generation, that is not an understatement. And it was interesting because I'm the behind the scenes type guy. So I saw where they actually tested what it would look like if they actually did, logs on there, and they actually just kind of fell and skittered. And I wasn't sure if it was the size that they used, but they actually had to enhance the actual logs that you see. So in a way, it's not quite as dire as it would be, but still. What kind of brought it home for me was the fact that, and this was like back in middle school days, but I remember my mother, I think it was my mother and my grandmother and I were all riding in the car. My mom just so happened to be behind this truck that had ladders and a bunch of stuff stacked up. And she just kind of was like, she was driving at first, but then she was like, okay, I feel like I need to, let me just move on away from this. I kid you not, we got a little ways down, and do you know everything toppled off of the back of that pickup truck right where we would have been. So that really kind of circled it all back around for me. And what I liked about it as well is that there were kind of like many, again, not a commentary thing, but just the fact that they were referencing all the different things going on. And the one thing I also took away from that, besides just not being behind trucks, or because I also recently was behind a truck that had a bunch of propane tanks on them, and I was like, okay, well, that's something they can do for us for a sequel. But yes, the one thing I took away from this, I'm sorry, is that when that water bottle rolls under the brake, I was like, okay, these water bottles, absolutely not. I have never forgotten that, and I won't have a water bottle anywhere near my brake or anywhere near the front. Nope.
That happens to me more often than not. Nikki.
Yeah, I haven't watched the Final Destination franchise in ages. If I remember correctly, this is the one with JJ from Criminal Minds, and the highway accident opening hit me particularly. I'm a Floridian, and if you're a Floridian, you know Floridians cannot motherfucking drive. So the highway pile up nightmare of this opening, like everybody said, the being not even just a log truck, being next to any of those like big semi trucks, period. Yeah. Like Dee said, the water bottle. I will never forget dropping a water bottle while I was driving. I just about wrecked out because it freaked me out so bad that I dropped the dang water bottle. But I love the premonition style openings that they do for all the Final Destinations. Really work for me. I think maybe that racetrack one was probably the weakest, if I remember correctly. But I thought this opening was brilliant. I thought it worked, and I like how the pile up happening and the accidents feel realistic. Like it doesn't feel like far-fetched, outlandish things that can't happen. You know how smokers do. They gonna flick that cigarette without putting the thing out. Like all of it feels very real, and it feels like it can really happen. So when you see the crash, it's very visceral. So I think that's why it scarred a generation. Like you feel like, you know what, them laws just might fall.
Exactly. Tyra, Final Destination 2.
You know, this was never my movie like that.
Tyra, log off.
No, not that it's a bad movie, but as far as like the openings that like shaped something for me, it was always that first Final Destination in that plane. Baby, you can't tell me that once I'm up there, you know, and you in the air, I'm cool. But like just boarding a plane in that first like 10 minutes of being on the plane, I'm shook. But part 2 is the reason, you know, for Backstreets. We take it back, Backstreet City all day long. I'm like, you know, if there is a back street, it's going to be taken by a girl. If there, that's adding another, you know, extra 15 minutes to the ride. Well, who cares? Because please, all I need is just an 18-wheeler to like switch lanes too quick for me. Just like, because like, what my grandfather used to say, like you have to drive for other people. Like it's impossible to drive for that many people. Like you just never know. Or you ever just, you know, passing by somebody and you look over to them like they're not even paying attention. Like, oh my God, like what, like who does that on the road? You see people doing all kind of miscellaneous stuff that it's just like, why would you do that? That's not safe. People just, it's just this here. This is why, you know, back streets were invented, and why, you know, being somewhere in Texas is, you know, there's always a back dirt road in Texas to take outside. Just get on the freeway, child. For what? For them logs to hit? For some straggling gravel to hit my windshield? No. Backstreet Betty.
That's why I'm sorry. I had to put this at the top. It may not be the scariest movie, but in terms of real life horror, because like this can happen. Like there's nothing like real life horror that can like this. It can happen. Accidents on the highway happen. Pileups happen. Just randomness stuff happens. Now I know Pennywise is probably not going to get me from the sewer. I don't walk too close to it, but I just, you know, logically, I don't think that he's going to, you know, pop out like that. Logically, I don't think a vampire is going to get me. But in reality, a log truck, it can definitely come through my windshield. Like this is a real thing here. TC Carson. Yeah.
Oh, the way they did TC Carson, child. Oh, terrible.
Had to just talk about that real quick. And before we're done with Final Destination 2, I just have to the death scene that happened when he slipped on the spaghetti noodles. I'm sorry, that
Oh my gosh.
that one that scene sent me because he escaped a fire in the apartment, all the other dangerous things that was happening, to slip on the spaghetti he threw out. And I'm sorry, y'all. That scene, I love Final Destination 2. Actually, I like the first three. I'm gonna be honest. The plane, the highway scene, and the roller coaster. That made me afraid of roller coasters as well. For the one, somebody in the chat said it was Final Destination 3 that did it to them. So I appreciate you all for coming and talking about some of the horror movies. I want to see some, put some of your favorite horror movie openings as we get into this last slide. Put your favorite horror movie openings in the chat, the ones that we may not have talked about that we didn't highlight. Just letting y'all know that you all may have been used to me and a counterpart, but moving forward, y'all just gonna get me in these horror movies. Y'all will have me. I will still be here. I will still be talking about horror movies. I will still be talking about horror movies and my favorite food ever, which is pizza. Just to let y'all know. But I would like to know, what are some movies that are y'all's favorite horror movie opening that maybe we didn't mention? Tyra, what's something we didn't mention that might be a favorite?
I love the opening for Evil Dead. I love that opening.
Yes.
The recent one, I can't remember I think it's 2012 or it's one of those. I love that opening.
Evil Dead Rise.
Yes. Evil Dead Rise. Yeah, that's good. The title card coming up. Evil Dead Rise. They just take it for you every time. Like, oh, they mean business. Like, it's good. I love the opening for Jaws. I know that's an old one. But I really love that opening for Jaws. Like, talk about a fear unlocked child. Because who getting in the water? Not me. Not me.
Not doing it.
It's so many. It's so many, but that's what I got. Just to name a few.
Nikki, what about you? Favorite horror movie opening or something we didn't name?
I'm surprised we didn't name Evil Dead 2013. I think that is such a brilliant opening. And also, I would have put the very first Final Destination before the second one. I think that first Final Destination opening is just so iconic. And a new one that I feel like is going to be iconic opening is Long Legs. I thought the Long Legs opening was freaking brilliant. I mean, masterfully brilliant. Long Legs is gonna go down in history. I thought that was a really great opening sequence. And somebody else said Wishmaster. Wishmaster has been one of my favorite movies since I was a kid. That opening sequence with the dang little what was they having, like a little party or something they was having that just went awry. Amazing gore fest, kind of like the gore fest you get in Ghost Ship, but just on a whole nother dang level. And like I said, Scream 2, I love the opening Scream, and I love the opening to Scream 3. I don't care. Argue with your mama. Don't talk
Here
to
you
me.
go.
I
Here
love
you go.
the opening of Scream 3. Okay.
I'm surprised that Halloween wasn't here. I think Halloween is like a really good opening. That's what we had. But just left my mind. I was like, I thought we would do Halloween because when they pull back that mask and it's little Michael, it's like,
right.
And then just the POV of the killer. That's I think that's an iconic opening too.
Absolutely. D, favorite horror movie opening or something we didn't mention?
One that I love simply because it was. I find that so many films are an interesting transition for me in seeing an actor in one role and then seeing something that completely obliterates what I was familiar with them with. So Martin Landau was, I was a big fan of his because of The Adventures of Pinocchio, where he played Geppetto, and then Jonathan Taylor Thomas played Pinocchio, that really kind of weird non-Disney version that they did that I still love. Well, Martin Landau was in the opening of a certain horror film where he's just riding along in the carriage and then makes his way into a cornfield. All of a sudden he looks out and the person who is actually his horseman is actually headless, runs into the cornfield, and then he gets his head lopped off, and you see blood splashing over this jack-o'-lantern scarecrow. And I just thought, for me, especially because the title is never shown, I thought Sleepy Hollow has a very intriguing way to start things off, especially how that opening then ties into this bigger conspiracy, even beyond the Headless Horseman and everything else. Because we never actually see him. We just see this brutal death. And like I said, growing up, being familiar with him in that sense, and then seeing him go out like that was a shocker for real.
Oh, absolutely. I like that. That was, you know what? I didn't even think of that one. I did not think of that one. Dominique, we got you real soon.
Oh no.
we got you real soon.
I resign.
Ashley, favorite horror movie opening or something
Girl,
from that we didn't name from this list. What you got?
Oh, from this list. Okay, because I was like, girl,
Or something that you
like,
didn't name. Oh yeah.
no, I don't like no horror movies. I'll say my favorite on this list, my favorite opening of what we went over was It, for sure. For sure. That was the one that made me feel most scared. Like that's the one that I would consider like horror. You know what I mean? Yeah.
My daughter's watching. She just texts me, "Mama, nobody gonna say The Ring." I said, "What? The Ring, y'all, that movie. The Ring. Yeah. No. Nobody's gonna say The Ring. What about The Ring opening?
Ooh.
Let my baby have it, Nikki Day.
Well, you just said the kids could die. I thought all bets were off.
Oh, there she is.
Kids doing stuff. Before we get out of here, I want to give everybody a chance to let us know what you got going on. Now, see, I don't want to pull everybody out and not know how to put everybody back in. So we're going to start with Tyra. Tyra, tell us what's going on in show reviews.
Oh, you guys know, and I love that we're all collaborating so much that we're all about to kind of say the same things. But we will be linking up again tomorrow. I know myself, Nikki, and Kay for Killer Con, which is also horror. So if you love what we did here or what Kay did here, because Kay was hosting, you need to absolutely pull up tomorrow, 5 o'clock CST time to join in on Killer Con. Sundays are reserved for Lady in the Lake, which is a show on Apple TV where all of us meet again. And we discussed Lady in the Lake. And of course, always be geared up and ready for Interview with the Vampire Tuesdays. We are currently getting into episode 3, and I can't wait to talk about it because I have a whole lot to say. That's it.
D.
Yes, hello, everyone. This is the Movieman, as you already know at this point. Well, tomorrow I will be doing something that I never do, which is hosting my own live stream. In addition, so I got Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and just like I don't know how I got to this point, but yes, I'm out here in these live stream streets, and so I will be hosting a live tomorrow with Big Ken Talks, discussing the plentiful cameos that showed up in Deadpool and Wolverine. We'll be kind of giving a brief chat on our thoughts on the movie, and then getting into the abundance of cameos that popped up and just be discussing those. I also just dropped my review for Trap, the film by M. Night Shyamalan. And if you're familiar with that name, then you know his films are likely to make you feel all kinds of things. So and check that review out, as well as my spoiler review for Deadpool and Wolverine. And of course, with Lady in the Lake premiering the newest episode, we will be circling back around on Sunday to discuss it with these lovely ladies. Now, as far as this other random live stream, aka the House of Hedonism, I'm not sure when we'll be doing that again, but I'm sure it'll come along at some point.
Here, House of Hedonism is where it's at. It's what we said. The people had a good time. If y'all like House of Hedonism that bad, drop some comments below and hit the like button and go subscribe to Kay's channel. Get Kay to 800 minutes. Where we at on subs? Kay, get Kay to a certain amount of subs, and we can do the fine man of Hollywood again.
Ashley, tell us what My Sweet Perspective has going on.
Ciao, all the things, everything y'all named, except Monday night, we have House of the Dragon. It's the finale of season 2, y'all. What else gonna do after that? I will also have my individual recap review of Lady in the Lake episode 4 up tonight. And tomorrow I will have the Serpent Queen episodes 3 and 4 up on the channel as well. And y'all, August. Subscribe, hit the notification bell to everybody on the panel because there is so much content coming in August. We are so excited. So just make sure that y'all are in the know.
Absolutely. And Nikki, they're asking in the chat. Tell them about KillerCon we got going on tomorrow and every Saturday, by the way.
Every Saturday.
Yes. Tuesdays for me is new content. Thursdays is our watch along. Thursdays we just did Bad Boys 2. Saturdays is KillerCon. We have Killer Conversation. We are talking all things horror. We get into some horror games, some horror topics, fun topics, serious topics like race and horror. It is just all things Black folks and horror. If you love horror, you have to come over for Killer Conversation. Saturdays, 5 p.m. Central Time. Every single week, Kay and Tyra are with me and we have a guest. Sundays, like everyone said, is Lady in the Lake. I have my solo Lady in the Lake video and then we all get together for the live. But actually, I have a live coming up right after this one. I will be doing a Bad Boys 2 versus Bad Boys Ride or Die discussion. So make sure you hop right on over after this one and join me for the Bad Boys discussion later tonight after this, right after, you know, relieve yourself, get something to drink, put the kids to bed, and let's talk Bad Boys.
Thank you guys all for being here and showing up. Thank you to the chat. I didn't know so many of y'all was gonna come on a Friday night to talk about horror stuff, but y'all came. So I need to see y'all coming back on tomorrow on Saturday because it's gonna be some more horror foolishness. If you like horror and you like foolishness, we give you that every Saturday. Hit that subscribe button and like on everybody's channel. In addition to what all the panel has already said, I have my review up for Deadpool and Wolverine. I am planning on dropping one for Longlegs and Oddity. Those are on my watch list. And we will see you guys tomorrow. Hit like and subscribe and that notification bell, especially the ones that want these random lives. Please hit that notification bell. We don't know when we're going live sometimes. It's a surprise. So hit that notification bell on everybody's channels and you will always know. Thank you guys for showing up. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for the panel. I thank you all for just being here to support. And as we exit, I'm going to leave you all with this.